Okay. Welcome to Day 2. Glad to be here, and today I got Miss Jada. Before I even say anything, I'm gonna say this. One of the reasons we have Day 2 is times like this. That was the vision that one day, I'm not getting paid for this, that one day, because this is therapeutic for me, that one day we'll have people coming in to tell their story, what they've been through, and we share with the world so people can learn from it. Our story is unbelievable. I'll let her tell it, but it's one of the reasons that I had to get her. So go ahead, ma'am, introduce yourself.
All right, so everyone, my name is Jada Jordan. I'm actually the founder and president of Transitioning Queens. It's a nonprofit organization that I started last year, and it is to provide temporary housing to mothers to transition from a toxic relationship.
Perfect. Now, I've seen our story. If you've not been on Facebook, go ahead, tell them your Facebook profile, your Transitioning Queen. Let's just get that over with, so that if you guys want to go check, there's a picture there right now. I saw that picture, and the way you drew the picture was, you said, this is my story. You said, this is my story, or this is me.
I said, this was me.
This
is
was
my
me.
story, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
If you guys have not seen it, I would like you guys to go check it out. If it's okay, I can post it on this Day too, right?
Of course.
Go ahead, tell them how they can. Before we even start your story, tell them how they can.
So on Facebook, if you look up Jada M. Jordan, that's my personal page, and then the business page is Transitioning Queens. So you can find that, you can search that on Facebook, and you'll see this picture. The photographer is actually Mr. Don Ashton, which he is actually a part of my board now for Transitioning Queens. He did an amazing job with the picture. He captured the right moment. So the purpose was depicting, illustrating how a victim feels. Okay.
Now, you're on IG, any other platform?
Instagram, search Instagram at Transitioning Queens, and my personal page on Instagram is jada.m.j.
Like, she saw one of our discussions. Shout out to my brother Pablo. He's been riding with me, and a lot of us, we are military buddies, so we can kind of like know where you're coming from. My job is to bring stuff like this out there. It's a problem. Right. And we had a discussion. I forgot what discussion it was. She liked the page immediately, and after liking the page, left a comment on the discussion. I've not met her before. It's the first time I'm seeing her. And she sent me a message, what she does, and of course, I'm gonna do my research before I bring it up here. And I was shocked, because Day 2 Africa, one of the biggest issues we have is what we're gonna talk about today, and is one of the reasons we're trying to go international with this. Women rights, and this thing is both men and women, though we hear a lot about women. So when I saw it, she hit me up, and I'm like, okay, we talked, and would you like to be on camera? And she's like, absolutely, and that's why we're here. You said no holds barred. That means I can ask you any question.
Ask me anything.
Let's go at it. Now, you were in an abusive relationship.
Right.
How long were you in the relationship for?
The relationship started in 2011, so before I actually filed for divorce, we had been together about 7 years. Now,
whenever I hear this, the first thing I ask is 7 years. If you look back at it now, you're a stronger woman. Now, if you look back, what made you stay?
What made me stay was the lack of knowledge, the not knowing, being naive, and also my background with not having my father be a father. He was in the home, but he wasn't a father.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that later, because I'm gonna shift this to some of the stuff we've been talking about fatherless home. But I'll ask you right now, if you look at our community, even though we're fighting, we're doing all this, do you think fatherless is the biggest problem there? You saying you have both of them, but it was not daddy enough. Do you think fatherlessness is the biggest problem in the black community now? Or, you know, people say racism, do you think it starts from home, not having a man figure?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, definitely, because I mean, it's truly about having healthy relationships. So even if the father is not in the home, if he is present in the relationship, then you can, it's still good if it's a healthy relationship. So yes, I do believe that it does start at home for sure.
Now let's go back to it. You said relationship 7 years, that's a long time. How, when you guys started, what was it about him that you said, okay, this is the person I want him? What did he show you that made you say, you know, I'll chill with him?
Oh goodness. Really, we both came from the bike community. So we both ride. We were both in bike clubs.
Shout out to Click Type family, man. They supporting you. Click Type Fic. That's my brothers. Okay.
Yes. So that's how we had that common goal. We had that common hobby. And that's what started our relationship, honestly. It wasn't anything beyond having that hobby in common. And from there, honestly, lust and having a hobby in common. Wasn't anything in depth. It wasn't anything deep because we didn't know each other.
Now, like I said shout out to the Click Type family. I'm not part of the bike club, but these guys have been riding with me for a long time. Even though y'all have that hobby, they do amazing things. I'll say that the bike club that I know, especially Click Type, they do amazing things for the community. So shout out to the whole Click Type family. Now, past the hobby, you guys together, when was the first time you look at it, you like, okay, this is not how a relationship's supposed to be?
I mean, the signs were early on. It's just that I was naive. I was just naive, but the signs were early on that the relationship was not good.
Okay, well, then let me say this. And this is both men and women when it comes to abusive relationships. Can we say that?
Right, yes.
Another question I'm going to ask you. You said the sign was not good and all that. If you look back at it now, did you look at yourself and say, there's something I could have done different?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You look back at it now like it wasn't just him. Yeah.
It was definitely not. And I won't, anybody who truly knows me and will sit and have a conversation with me, I will not hold anything back. I definitely was not the best girlfriend. I wasn't the best wife for sure. But what I know now is that that's never an excuse for abuse. I do know that. But me being the best,
Now, when you say abuse, there are different types of abuse now. You have the verbal, you have the physical abuse, the emotional, and you know, I would even say spiritual abuse. It gets in there, but whenever you go on a journey, you understand there are spiritual abuse, especially if you go to the wrong organization. Did it start with verbal abuse? Or which one would you look back at and say, it started with this, and I let it go and gradually just, which one were you a victim of?
All of it. At some point, all of it. The very first sign I would say that I had was when his ex came to the house at 4 o'clock in the morning.
How long were y'all together after this, when this happened?
Oh, we had just gotten together actually. So that let me know that they were not finished.
Right.
That let me know. So it started off with that. That moment when she came over to the house at 4 o'clock in the morning, he hid me in another room. It was so embarrassing, so humiliating. That was one of the most humiliating times.
Okay, so she came inside?
I couldn't tell you because I was hiding. I couldn't even tell you.
Okay.
She was at the door, I know that.
Right.
He opened the door. He responded. He opened the door.
So what was his excuse? What did he tell you that made you go hide?
Oh, goodness.
That's your house.
I mean, that's what he told me. I don't want any issues.
Oh, so you knew that was his ex?
Yes. I knew.
Okay, so if that's the case, you knew he had an ex that he was still messing with?
I knew at that point. I knew at that point. They have kids together.
Ah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So if you look back at it now, would you say like it wasn't ready to pursue any relationship at that time?
Right. Not at all. Because if you're bouncing from relationship to relationship, where's your time that you've grown from that past relationship or healed? Because you know there's going to be hurt there.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be damaged. Something's going to be broken or hurt. So there was no healing process. It was the same with me. I had just gotten out of a relationship. It was the same with me. We did the same thing. So that's also a cycle that we repeat as we go from relationship to relationship. Not fixing anything in between.
So, I mean, I'm glad you said that now. Look, because I was going to ask you. So a lot of women are going through that. So one of the problem you will say is, whenever you get out of a relationship, because when you walked away from there, you say you jump into another relationship.
Right.
What are some of the things you could have done to even get into this abusive relationship when you got out of the first one? Because you're saying he was in one, you were in one, wasn't done. What are some of the things you could have done?
I could have just been still and not just looked at myself, looked at why my relationship that I had just gotten out of was not a good one.
Quick question though. Do you, at that point, man, when you go through this stuff, where you are right now, do you know who you were back then?
Nope.
What is the difference between Miss Jada now, the CEO of Transitioning Queen, and Jada back then, that you can look back now? Like if a dude come at you right now, you're like, come on, man.
Oh, the knowledge I have, the wisdom I have now. So somebody who I listen to on a daily basis is Tony Gaskins.
Tony Gaskins.
He's a life coach. He's a relationship coach. He has his whole platform, mentoringship. So you can look him up on YouTube, and he is, what I love about him, and that's what drew me to you all, was the raw, just being raw.
I appreciate that.
Transparent.
Thank you.
Like that's what I'm drawn to, people like that can be real. And he's like that, which is why I listen to him. So his advice that he gives, he puts it all out there for, you know, the red signs, or the red flags that are there, what you should avoid, what to look for, heal before you go and hop into another relationship. He talks about all that. He's been married for 13 years now. So he's faithful. I mean, just not settling. And that's what we do. We tend to settle because it comes with not knowing who we are and not knowing what we're worth. So essentially you don't know who you are. You don't know your value.
So that's self-worth. What are some of the things, if you look back now, because that word self-worth, we all go through it. And sometimes situation is going to make you go through, who am I? It's a journey, man. It's a journey you have to go through. When you look at self-worth now, what are some of the things you didn't have then? When you what was missing inside that made you settle for this type of relationship?
You know what was missing was not knowing what a healthy relationship was. That's what was missing, because my parents didn't have a healthy relationship. My dad abused my mom. He wasn't a good father. So I didn't know what the example was of a healthy relationship. So I had nothing to compare it to. So what I knew was normal. It was, that's what I knew. So I thought that was normal.
Wow. Okay, we're going to be right back. I'm going to do 3 segments with you. I don't cry. So it's painful, but I don't cry. I have a daughter, I have a mother, so this is close to my heart. And, you know, she already, go ahead. You doing donation to your non-organization and all that good stuff, okay?
Yes.
How can they
donate?
Yeah.
You can donate through Instagram at Transitioning Queens, or you can go to the Facebook page, Transitioning Queens. There's a donate button on there. There's posts on there that you can just click donate, and it's that simple.
Okay, we're gonna be right back. We're gonna surprise her a little bit and support the cause, but we're gonna have a 3 segment here. I'm really gonna go deep into this, and hopefully for our sisters there, our brothers there, we all can learn from it, okay? Thank you, Miss Jada. We'll be right back. And for you guys, go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Shout out to Pablo. Shout out to Skip. I will be starting a new segment this month. I was going to start with her, the FaceTime, so I can reach everybody that leave comment on my page. I am forever indebted to you guys. Thank you. We're not getting paid from this. We're making time to bring stories like this out. So thank you guys. Subscribe right now. YouTube, Facebook. Go to Transitioning Queen. Subscribe to our page. Help her any way we can. All right? We'll be right back, okay? Thank you guys.